good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is and whatever time it is that you are joining us or listening and or watching this morning. I wanted to say welcome. I have to say that because I have been blown away by the response of all of those that are joining us this year as we read through the Bible in a year. 20 minutes a day we're taking to read through the entire Bible in a year. Because of that amazing response. So many of you are joining us for the first time, and you may have some extra questions. And so I have a little bit of a punch list for you that I just wanted to break a few things down so that you understand why we're doing what we're doing, how we got to doing what we're doing, and some things that I'm already adjusting because of your help and your comments. And so I wanted to start with that. I want you to know, if you're listening or watching this, I would love to have a little bit of your editing help. If we get to the point where there's an episode that just doesn't sound right, or we had an issue with the music for day 2, actually, please let me know. Don't give up on the podcast. I would love your help to be a part of this community and know you're not doing this alone. I'm so excited about the opportunity we have to be able to do this as a community of believers in the Word of God and what God might do through all of that. So I'm going to do my best to kind of be the hub and the host of all of those things. Because of that, though, I'm going to need your help. So if you're one that is interested in stepping up and helping, please reach out and let me know. You can find those things in the show notes. Now, speaking of the show notes, one of the first things on my punch list is some of you asked where those show notes are. In each episode, and in the details tab of the podcast itself, you should be able to find a drop down. Now, it all depends on how it is that you're listening or watching our podcast. And so somewhere there is a drop down that gives you extra notes. In fact, those that messaged me, you found my email inside of the show notes. And so that's when I talk about notes, that's what I'm talking about. It's the notes of the episode or the notes of the podcast itself. I did not have, and this is my fault, I did not have the link to the Bible reading plan in the show notes until today's episode. So from today's episode on, in the show notes, you'll have the Bible reading plan specified. In fact, maybe I'll go back and I'll edit it and put it in days 1 and 2 for those that kind of join us a little bit later on. The second question that I got, I am reading through the New King James Version of the Bible. That's the version that we're using. I'm using that because this all started, I'm a local pastor of a small local church here in New Jersey. And this all started because I wanted to be able to read to my congregation on a daily basis. I wanted them in the Word of God. And so we're just using that because that's the Bible that we have in our sanctuary for people that come in and worship with us on a consistent basis. Doesn't mean that we're going to always do it. Maybe we'll start, this picks up and we do different translations, but just so you know, if you're reading with us, I've also added that to the show notes. So we're reading through the New King James Version of the Bible. Third thing on the punch list, background music issues. I'm reading this and recording this myself. I'm the one that's editing. I'm the one that's posting and doing all of that. That being said, technology is not always the easiest thing to work with, and sometimes there are issues and problems. On day 2, I had an issue where the background music from a couple of years ago was reposted on the new background music. And so the background seemed so loud, and I didn't know it because the way that I listen to on my end is not the way that you're listening to it. So I'm going to have to keep checking that for you. But hopefully I fixed that issue. And moving forward, I'm going to do my best to keep that background music to a minimum, just in a way that is not distracting, but it adds a little bit to, like just from the turning of the pages, or I'm in my office here. So sometimes a big truck drives by and you won't hear it because the background music's there. If I didn't have background music, trust me, you better off reading on your own for you. That also brings me to the fourth on the punch list. I am not going to pronounce every name and every word perfectly. I don't go back and re-edit these. I'm simply reading for the 20 minutes the way that I would read for 20 minutes for my kids, or hopefully that I would read on my own if you're reading on your own. And so sometimes I struggle through words. Sometimes I have to pause and have to really think about the pronunciation of the words. And sometimes I butcher the word altogether, especially as we're in some of the genealogies that are where they're found, through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, the Pentateuch in the beginning here. there are a lot of really hard names. So listen, you have to forgive me. If I mispronounce a name, I'm going to do it. I promise I'm going to do it. I think I already have been. I'm listening back and I'm going, oh my goodness, I wish I would have gotten that. But that being said, bear with me there. And last but not least, just hang on with me. Sometimes it helps knowing all about this. We live in this consumer culture where everything is perfectly edited and we have these cropped and edited scenes and cropped and edited. And I do my best to kind of pull a little bit of that together. It's not always going to be perfect, but I would love to be able to make this the best experience for all of those that are joining us. So please do not hesitate to send me a message and say, hey, Pastor Dave, just be a little bit specific for me, but hey, in episode, 5 or 6, halfway through, there was this big jolting noise and it really, hit me. Maybe something you should check out. I would love that. And if you want to just send through and I've gotten a number of you are telling me that you and your spouses are actually joining me as we read through. And that is so amazing. My wife's going to be joining us for a couple of episodes and some things that we're doing kind of as well this year to sort of add a little bit more. And so there's nothing that blesses my heart more than to know that you are being blessed. And so as you're hanging on with me, I hope that I can hang on with you and this becomes a really engaging opportunity of blessing and a place for the Lord to really do some cool stuff in your life. I'm asking him to do more cool stuff in my life. Anyway, so I just want to say thank you. Hang on with me, please. Don't just be a consumer in this. We want to be doers of the word. The word of God is living and active, it says. And so as much as we can use the technology that sometimes is a distraction, I would love to hear the ways in which God is taking you beyond just listening and consuming. And that would be a great encouragement for me to kind of continue forward and to keep moving on to. We all sort of need that building up aspect of things. So grab a hold of whatever opportunities you have in front of you to be able to do that. I'm done. I'm going to leave you. This is already a little bit longer than what I wanted to. God bless you. I'm excited for this journey. I have a couple of those extra meditative things that I'm talking about. Pastor Keith and Mike and I are meeting this week. We're going to really begin to kind of hash out. We're really preparing for this January 25th, where the So What the podcast is going to be started. I can't. You'll have to wait. So long as you're joining us on this journey, you're going to be able to get a hold of that. And I'm excited. So thank you for helping me to be excited. God is so good in that way. As he unifies his body, to know that there are so many that are also desiring and wanting this, that I believe one of the greatest resolutions of a new year that you can do is something that's going to help interact with your spiritual side of who you are. And so though we are not one of those components alone, I don't know, I just encourage you, maybe it's, if you want to interact with both, right? I have people that they take a walk and they listen. So we're taking care of the temple that God's given us. We're kind of interacting as full persons with this process of just meeting with the Lord in his word. Be blessed by it. I could talk forever. I'm a pastor. God bless y'all. And hopefully we will be able to interact soon. See ya.